Did you know that your body has some fat percentage set points, and these set points can also be changed? And did you know that mind to muscle connection is really important, and you can build a really good physique without even lifting heavy? So these are the points which John Lucas has discussed today, and we get a chance to discuss with John Lucas. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Madfitjunky, and I'm your host Himanshu Yadav. So today we're gonna meet John Lucas. John Lucas is an internationally renowned athlete, and he has been performing for many federations like NAVA, IFBB, and others. In today's video, I'm gonna be discussing a lot more about him. I know the video is big, so for your convenience, I have put some timelines in my description so that you can reach out to those timelines and see what exactly you want to see. Yes, it's gonna hamper my watch time, but that's okay as long as you are getting the information which you need. Before we meet John, I request all of you to please click on that subscribe button, and there's a small bell icon which will help you notify all the videos which are coming onto the channel. So let's go and meet John Lucas, guys.
It should be now.
Yeah, that's perfect. Hi John, how are you?
Good, thanks, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely great. Thank you so much.
Great. Good, man.
So John, first of all, thank you so much for joining at Madfitjunky. It's a pleasure
Yes.
to have you on the channel. But
Thank you for having me, brother. I'm excited to be here.
thank you so much. John, first thing first, how did your fitness journey started around 22 years or 20 years back?
Right, Bruce. So, yeah, my fitness journey started actually when I was probably like a little boy. Why I'm saying that is I remember being like 4 or 5 or 6 years old, and always saying to my dad, you know, whenever I saw my dad, I asked him to pull a bicep pose, and I was so fascinated with muscle, you know.
Okay.
And my dad never really used to take me to Superman movies or Batman. He used to take me to movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude Van Damme. So I kind of like, those guys became my superheroes, and I got so fascinated with this muscle thing. So even as a little boy, I used to be doing push-ups, and I was doing sit-ups, and I was doing all these types of things, trying to put on a little bit of muscle. And so what happened with me is I was always very involved in sport.
Okay.
And I got pretty good in tennis, actually.
Oh,
and
wow.
I ended up going to America for tennis. But when I was, you know, even when I was playing tennis at a very competitive high level, like, for instance, one day my coach said to me that I need to go to the shops, and he wanted me to buy some tennis magazines and just like read tennis magazines and, you know, like just, you know, improve my knowledge and that type of thing. And I remember walking into the magazine shop, and I walked out, bro, with 3 bodybuilding magazines, no tennis magazine. I was like 15 years old or something. I walked out with 3 bodybuilding magazines, and I still remember Mike O'Hearn was on the cover of the one, and I still took it home, and I said to my mom, look, I want to look like this guy. This is the guy I want to look like. Mom was like, weren't you supposed to get tennis magazines? I was like, so I remember sitting at a tennis squad and just reading bodybuilding magazines, and my coach was like, what are you doing? And I was just fascinated. So I ended up going to America. I ended up playing a little bit of ball there, and when I was there, I was training in the gym.
Okay.
And I realized that I was actually way more concerned about putting on muscle and about building a physique than I was about getting my tennis better in the end. So even though I was really skinny, bro, like really skinny, I decided to pack it up in the States, and I flew back to South Africa, and I started training more seriously, and I told everybody I was going to become a bodybuilder, and they all laughed at me. And I don't blame them for laughing at me, because I really was skinny. I mean, I was this height, and I weighed 85 kilos, you know.
Oh.
And I had a really typical tennis body, tennis physique. So I looked like a beanpole, bro. So I stuck at it, and luckily, you know, that's given me 20 years of a journey now. Yeah.
That's been a very incredible journey. I just want to know the second thing, like in this journey of yours, you must have faced a lot of challenges. Like 20 years is a huge time. And how did you overcome those challenges, and how did you beat those challenges?
Okay, so So, bro, the first huge challenge for me and bodybuilding was it was never the motivation to get into the gym. It was never the
Okay.
motivation to go and lift the weights because I always had that motivation. It was always pretty, for me, it wasn't, to do sport was fun. So to train was fun. So my challenge came in when I had to learn how much I would have to eat to put on muscle.
Yeah.
Now, you either two things in the sport. You're either the guy that needs to control his appetite because he eats too much and he puts on too much body fat and it's not clean quality gains, or you're the guy that has a really fast metabolism and your job is going to be eating and carrying your food around and eating continuously and prepping your meals. And that's going to be the challenge. Now, bro, that was a huge challenge for me, and it still is actually. Even after 20 years, I still wake up and sometimes I'm not hungry, and I'm like, oh, I have to force the meal.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Force the meal. So that's exactly what I do. Even if I have to wash it down with water or whatever, I force that meal in. So that's still after all this time, it's still a constant challenge for me. Obviously, the other challenges that I've worked through have been stuff like I haven't had major injuries, but I have had a few injuries. And whenever you get injured, it tests you mentally because you're obviously out of the gym. You see your gains fading away. You got to stay strong mentally. And then I would say, other challenges would be the fact that you sometimes have to make, well, not sometimes, you a lot of the time have to make sacrifices. So a lot of the time my mates were going out, they were going to go to a club, for instance, they were going to drink, they were going to have a great night, they were going to go and spend some time, go meet some new girls or whatever, and I would have to take care of my gains, of my physique. So I would not go out and I would not drink that alcohol, and I would stay at home and I'd make sure that I'm rested so I can wake up early on a Saturday morning and go smash legs, and that's always going to be a challenge. How badly do you want a great physique? How badly do you want that physique that you tell everybody you want to look like? How bad do you actually want it? Because you're going to have to make big sacrifices to get there.
Exactly. So to maintain your body muscle mass, you have to have those calories, that extra diet, extra meal, which you are telling that you have to sometimes gulp it through water. So that happens lot with a lot of people. I also face sometimes that. So I can actually relate to it that when I'm not hungry, I'm like, okay, I have to eat it.
And Madfitjunky, the thing is, bro, if our bodies worked like automobiles, like cars work, and if we ran out of petrol and our bodies just stopped, then we would all understand how important food is. But our bodies are so beautifully engineered and so wonderfully made that we don't just stop. If we haven't eaten breakfast, lunch, and we still haven't eaten, our body still goes and it finds muscle to burn and fat to burn and whatever the case is. Now, and the problem with that is people, because our bodies are so great at doing that, people don't realize that it's not lifting the weights that's going to build my muscle. Lifting the weights is going to cause micro damage in the muscle, and eating the food is going to build the muscle. So both are important. You obviously need micro damage in the muscle to be able to build it. But, a lot of people, like I said, don't have the problem with getting into the gym and training because they get into the gym, they train, they break into a sweat, they release a whole bunch of endorphins, and they feel really, really good about themselves, and they feel good about the feelings that they get from training. So that's not the hard part for some people. The hard part is to go home after that and to start to prep your meals. To stand in front of an oven and cook and make sure that you have all those meals for the next day, because consistency is the trick to this game, bro. So consistency in training, consistency in eating, and consistency in discipline, is the trick to getting the results you want.
Exactly. John, coming to the third question, what is the lowest body fat percent you have achieved? And do you train men and women both, right? So the minimum which you have achieved, is it sustainable for a regular person also?
No. So, bro, we all have our own body fat set point. What that means is that is a body fat that your body feels very comfortable sitting at year round. So normally what will happen is, say for instance, I diet down for something and then I come back home and then I eat a little bit dirty. My body fat might go up and then it might stick at a certain set point. For me, my set point is quite low. And the reason for that is because I've purposely always try to stay in decent shape so that I'm at least 2 to 3 weeks out of a photo shoot. If I get called by one of my sponsors or by another company, a new project or a movie or something, I want to be able to look good and be able to walk in there looking, the part. So for me, because I've done that, my body fat set point has been quite low. So I probably stick around, I don't really ever probably go above 8% ever,
Okay.
My lowest that I've ever been is probably 1.5%, 2%.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, for shows or for actually sometimes in India, when I've done some really big tours, like the one tour I did, it was a 20-day tour. It was 9 cities in 20 days. And I posed so much in that time that when I got home, bro, I couldn't believe how lean I was. Like the skin on my abs was like the skin on my eyelid. Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't test how lean I was, but I'm reckoning at least 1-2%.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
for the average person, bro, no, it's not. It's not. You can't expect the average person to keep body fat set points that I'm keeping right now, and you also can't expect them to be able to get that lean. So what an average person needs to do is they need to, again, practice dieting. So if their aim is to get lean, they will notice that if they do this religiously and strictly, they'll notice that when they diet down the first time, their body fat might get to a certain point and then it might kind of just stick and not move anymore. Then if they come back up in body fat and they eat up again and then they diet down again, they'll probably get a little bit leaner again. And the more they do it, the better their body will get at getting lean. So what I've found is over the years, when I suddenly go from like now where maybe I'm trying to put on some size to getting into better condition, my body knows what I'm doing so fast now, bro, because I've done it so many times.
Exactly.
So because I've done it so many times, my body like sort of switches back into that fat burning gear, and I get into that sort of body state much faster than a normal person would. But it's because I've done it so many times. So for an average person, the more they do it, the better they'll get at it. The better they'll get at it, the better and the leaner they'll be. Now, if you want to talk about sort of like the average gym pop guy or girl, a guy's body fat is acceptable, between, say, average. I'm talking average between 12 and maybe 18, I would say, percent. A female is obviously higher because a female has estrogen in them, and estrogen is the hormone that differs in a male and a female. We've got tests, they've got estrogen. Because they've got estrogen, they hold a lot more body fat. So a lady, you're looking at more around 18 to maybe 25% acceptable.
Okay.
For the general gym pop person. But and then again, another thing about body fat is everybody also holds their body fat very differently.
Yeah.
So some people might look a certain way at, say, 10%, and another person next to them has the same body weight, height, but at 10% they don't look the same way. It might be because their genetics hold body fat in a different area. So one person might hold it on their abs, and the other person might hold more on their back. And if that is the case, then one person might look a little bit leaner from the front, and the other one looks a little bit leaner from the back. For me, personally, I get pretty lean on my midsection, on the front of my body, faster than the back, which is great as a fitness model because I can show abs, right? But the last place to get lean for me is actually probably the skin folds on my back.
Okay.
So again, that's why, bro, this sport or profession or building a physique is so unique, because nobody can just take my diet and do my diet or my training and do my training and get the physique that I have.
Exactly.
Everybody has different genetics, different genetic makeup structure, and that means for you, I got to give you a different diet. To me, you got to train in a different sort of way. You got to find what works for you. Does a rep range between 6 and 8 work for you? Does a higher rep range between 8 and 12 work for you? These are all things that everybody has to find out themselves, or that their coach has to find out with them. So the coach helps them find those types of things out at a much faster rate, so that they get the results a lot quicker.
Cool. John, thank you so much. That was really wonderful. It was something I have never heard about, and a lot of people I have not heard talking about this. So thank you so much for sharing such a beautiful information with me. The thing is that you've done movies, you've done ads, you've done shows, you've done dance on Bollywood numbers in India, on Indian beats. Right? So the gentle giant in shaking that body very well. What are your views about it?
Okay, bro. So also from as young as I can remember, if I heard music, I had a dance, and I had a move, so the dancing part for me is quite a natural thing for me. If I'm walking into my house and I'm going to make some food, you'll often see that I've got some music on and I'm dancing while I'm cooking, Wow. So that part was very, very natural. When I went to India the first time, I just got really blown away. I remember sitting at the stand that I was representing, and I remember this Bollywood song coming on, and people it was at the end of the expo. It was a Body Power Expo, and people just got up and started dancing. And then one person grabbed my hand, and I started dancing. And when I started dancing, everybody just went crazy, and I was like, oh, okay. Obviously, what I've done here is I've bridged the gap because I've embraced your culture, the Indian culture.
Exactly.
So I thought, you know what, I enjoy dancing and I enjoy performing, and I like performing for people. So when I went back home, I decided maybe I should just learn a couple of choreographed moves. So my manager at the time, he helped me in the beginning, and we just did a couple things. The next time I went back to India, I did it for the first time, and people really, really embraced it and loved it. Ever since then, I've gone back, and obviously I've done it every time. Now, I've actually hired a choreographer here in South Africa. So when I do have an expo to go to, I do put a proper routine together. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at it. Like, I am a perfectionist, so when I do watch the videos, sometimes I'm like, I could have done that better or that better. But the more I practice, the better I'm getting at it. And bro, I just enjoy it. I enjoy the fact that I can connect to the Indian culture and to the Indian people in that manner, because it is so natural and fun to me as well.
Exactly. So that's absolutely fun to move in such a way that you move, and it actually combines with the audience. They love it, you love it, and then it becomes a moment for everyone. So that's absolutely amazing, and we would love to see you dance more in India.
I definitely will, Madfit. I definitely will, bro.
Perfect.
But so, like I said, I do try and make sure that I at least get better every time I do it.
Yeah.
So, and I reckon that maybe at the end of the year, I'll probably be spending a little bit more time in India once this whole lockdown thing is finished.
Okay.
I might actually go and spend a few months there and be back and forth and spend a lot more time in India than I'm doing now. And if that is the case, bro, then when I get to India, then I'm going to hire those guys, those pros, and learn properly. And I'll put on a proper show for you guys.
Exactly. So you will be a pro version of John Lucas.
That's it, bro.
Nice. You have become the gentle giant and India's adopted son. How this transition happened of John?
So the gentle giant, I kept on hearing people just kept on calling me the gentle giant. So especially when I went to India, I really, really appreciate my fans, bro.
Yeah.
So, and the reason that is because I remember being one of those guys. I remember being a fan And I remember seeing a bodybuilder, an elite bodybuilder for the first time, and I was like, I remember where I was. It was not even far from my house here, and I was standing there, and I was flabbergasted. I was absolutely mind blown by it was a guy named Art Atwood. He's not actually alive anymore, but he was a pro bodybuilder, and he was really, really big. And I was just blown away by this guy. And I stood in the queue to meet him for hours. And luckily, I was able to get that autograph and that picture with him. But I would have been absolutely heartbroken if I didn't. Didn't get it. So my fans are very, very important to me. So I try, when I go to the expos, I try to stand for as long as I possibly can and pose for as long as I possibly can, so that I can get the fans or please the fans. And because of that, people then just started calling me the Gentle Giant. I am a humble guy. I don't like fighting. I like watching UFC. I like watching the sports. It's a big favorite sport of mine, but I don't like fighting, people fighting for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And I think it just messes everything up. So if I meet people, I try and make them feel as special as possible. And I try to be as humble as I possibly can. And because of that, I think that name, the Gentle Giant, just carried on getting thrown at me. And then I just liked it. I thought, you know what, I'll adopt that name. And then India's adopted son, bro. I think I wish I had actually counted the exact trips, but I've got to be around, it has to be around somewhere 20 to 25 times I've been to India now.
Wow.
And I've been all around India. I've traveled a hell of a lot of the country, which has been amazing. And because I've just fallen in love with your guys' culture and with your country, and because also, the main thing, because of the way Indians make me feel when I'm there. The extreme hospitality of your guys' nation is there's no other nation in the world that's like that. You don't go to any other nation and feel so welcome, so at home, so taken care of than you do in India. So I've just felt like it's become my second home, and I felt like the Indian people have adopted me, and I love them and they love me, and that's where that name came from.
Perfect. And we love you, man. We love you. You have been
Thank you, bro.
So much and inspiring so many people to get into bodybuilding, to become a professional athlete. So we absolutely love that. John, to the next question, I'm going to ask you, which is your favorite city? You have traveled to a lot of cities. You must have a lot of cherished memories around all the cities. But somewhere there would be one city where you would love to go every time you come to India.
Okay, so, bro, I mean, like a typical, I don't know, maybe a typical tourist, I loved Goa.
Okay.
Goa was, wow, bro. I had a crazy good time in Goa, so I definitely want to go back to Goa. But if we're talking about major cities, I do have quite a love for Bangalore, bro.
Okay.
Bangalore is I just find it's like a little bit of a different city. It's a lot greener. It's a lot sort of better on the eye, if you want to put it that way, if you had to live there. Obviously, I filmed Pogaroo for the Karnataka people. So, when I am in Bangalore, like every city, but when I'm in Bangalore, it's even more of a reception that I get. And I do have some very, very special friends that come from Bangalore too. But, I have a special connection with probably every city, I would say Bangalore is my favorite, but I mean, Mumbai there's something really special about Mumbai, bro. That city it's absolutely crazy. It blows me away every single time I'm there. Like, wow. Like, it's so hustle and bustle and busy, and there's so much stuff going on. There's also so many opportunities, bro. So there's so much opportunities for guys that want to do acting or modeling or whatever. There's auditions all day. There's things happening all the time. Sometimes the traffic can actually drive you absolutely nuts. But you learn to live with it. And then again, the other cities like Delhi, also a special place. Ahmedabad, I have a really good connection with Ahmedabad because I have some really great friends up there. It's also really different there. It's really hot, kind of like flat. And I've even been to a palace, and I've been invited by JV, the Prince of Baroda, and I've stayed in the palace, up there with him, and that was amazing. You know, absolutely crazy, amazing, and I want to definitely go back there. That was definitely a favorite of mine too. It's just that it is a little bit of a mission, because you got to go up to Ahmedabad and then you got to get in a car and drive.
Exactly.
And whatever, it takes time. But I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, I have some connections to quite a few of those cities, bro. Okay. But I would say Bangalore would be the one that is front of my mind.
Absolutely. So Bangalore will win all the cities which you have just told me, right?
Yes. There's a special connection to all of them, bro, you know. And that's the beautiful thing about India too, is that not one city is alike. Yeah. So every new place I go to, it's a totally new experience for me. It's, I've been so blessed that I've been to so many places now that I've probably forgotten quite a few of their names even, and that's how blessed I've been. And I've seen some really phenomenal. I mean, I tell you what, one place that also blew me away in India was Ramoji City.
Oh, wow.
So Ramoji City, where they do all the filming, that was phenomenal. You don't even feel like you're in India, bro. You feel like you're on some sort of exotic island, where there's these castles and train stations and airports, and everything's built into the city. Yeah. Meanwhile, it's just you, a bunch of other actors and film crew. That was also spectacular, bro. Yeah.
Nice. So, John, coming to your professional side, I would like to know, as a coach and as an influencer, what is your take on the any form while you're working out, and when you're pushing up or doing any kind of an exercise, your technique, and obviously the food choices which you make?
Okay, so I actually like this question a lot, bro, because many people don't understand this, what I'm about to say. Now, if you've been training for a little bit of time, you've probably come across the term mind to muscle connection. Yeah. You've probably read it somewhere. You've probably heard people say it. You've maybe heard me say it. Whatever the case is, you've heard somebody in the industry tell you about mind to muscle connection, but people don't understand what that means. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
I try to explain it in a little bit of a different way. Now, the way I try and explain it is, if I'm going into the gym today and I'm training chest, most people know that if they lie under a bench press and they push the bar up and down, that is a chest exercise. So most people think that if they're going to go into the gym and they lie under the bar and the bar goes up and down, automatically their pecs are getting stimulated, their chest is getting worked. Now that is where we are completely wrong, okay? Because our bodies are so amazingly made, because they are put together in such a unique, incredible way, not one muscle is singularly responsible for one movement. So what I mean is, it's very possible to lie under a bench press. It's very possible for me to use my chest, my anterior delts, which most men use, front to their shoulder, anterior delts, and my triceps. Now, if you think about it, if I push a weight up and down and I'm using 40% triceps, 40% anterior delts, and only 20% chest, am I going to get development in my chest? No. Because I wouldn't have been able to cause enough micro damage if only 20% of my chest was working to push that weight.
Yeah.
So, it's not about lying under a machine and making sure the weight goes up and down and getting up and tuning. Hey, bro, I just bench pressed 100 kilos, bro. Yeah, man, I'm so strong. That means nothing. I don't care how much you bench press. I care, did you bench press and did you feel like it was heart surgery? Did you feel your chest was like like getting operated on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
if you felt the burn and the pain here, and you didn't feel it in your anterior delt, and you didn't feel it in your triceps,
Yeah.
but the isolation, the pain isolation was in your pecs, and it felt like it was just getting worse and sore, and then you hit failure.
Yeah.
Then we know that we're going to get micro damage in the chest, and because of that, we're going to get some growth if we're eating our food, right? If we're eating our food. Because it's very possible to get the micro damage, not to eat food, and to actually shrink, to lose muscle, or to affect our immune system. And when we don't eat, or we don't eat enough, our immune system drops. And often, especially newcomers, they go and they train, they're really, really motivated to get in the gym, they're really motivated about getting results, so they go and every day they go and push as hard as they can, they get really sore, and suddenly, boom, they got a sore throat, or they got a cold, or they got the flu. And that's because they're not giving their body enough nutrition to recover from the activity. Okay? So if we are pushing with the correct muscle, and we're using the intended muscle to lift the weight up and down, then we will get growth. Now, if we think about that in a logical sense, that means I don't have to go and risk putting on stupid amounts of weight. Doesn't mean that I don't train heavy. It doesn't mean that I don't push to failure. But I don't go and say that I've lifted this amount of weight, because I'm not a power lifter, and I'm not a weightlifter. If I was a power lifter, it would be very, very important for me to see how much can I deadlift, how much can I bench press, and how much can I squat. Those are your three movements in powerlifting, right? Squat, bench, and deadlift. That would be my primary goal. Now, if you look at a powerlifter bench, he does not bench like a physique athlete or like a bodybuilder. A powerlifter needs to use all the muscles so that he can push as much weight as possible. So if he's going to bench press, he wants to use his anterior delt. He wants to use his triceps and chest. So you'll see they drop their elbows down when they bench so that their triceps come in. You'll see they arc a lot more, they use their shoulder, and therefore they push a much heavier weight. For me, I want to isolate my pecs. So I want to use as much pecs as I can to bench press. So I drive my elbow up. I make sure that the tricep doesn't come in, because tricep comes in as the elbow drops near the body. We drive the elbow more up, so we're making sure that it's only pecs. And then we make sure that as we bench, so as we're benching like this, we don't make the shoulders do the work. A lot of people do that. They'll bench the weight, and then they'll finish the move, and they'll look at my chest. My chest is just, nothing's happening, right? But the weight would still be up. If the weight was here, the weight would still be up, but nothing would have been on my chest. But if I push my ribs out, and I get my elbow wide, and I push, now look at my chest. Now it's solid. So that shows you that our sport is the same as every other sport, in the sense that if I'm going to go and play golf, I'm going to go hire a golf pro. I'm going to go and learn how to hit the golf ball. And the better I get it, the more feel I'm going to get, which means it's going to give me more thing as mind to muscle connection. It's the feel of the exercise. So when I talk about form, bro, it's very important. And that's why I do have quite a few clients that are actually, firstly, professional athletes, and I have some clients that are trainers, many clients that are trainers themselves, that are coaches themselves, because I've been very lucky that I've been able to break a movement down a lot more technically than maybe other guys. So what I mean is, I can watch your bench press, and I can say to a very experienced guy, listen, bro, you might have a great chest, but you could probably have a better chest if you left your shoulders, your anterior delts out of the movement a little bit more. And I'm able to just change that form a little bit. And normally what happens is the guy will actually have to bench press a little bit lighter, because he won't be able to push the same amount of weight, because he's not using all the three muscles anymore. But he will notice that he gets a lot sore the next day, and he'll notice that he gets a lot faster results, a lot quicker results. So for me, bro, form, exceptionally important. You have to, and by the way, here's another little point. Although our sport is exactly the same in terms of we having to learn our form, we have hundreds of exercises to learn form in. We also have different body parts to feel mind to muscle connection in.
Yeah.
So you might connect to your chest really well, but you might not connect to your back. Now you have to go and you have to make sure that you learn how to connect to your back if you want those results to come on your back. Now, if you think about it, bro, our sport is the opposite to every other sport in this point that I'm going to make now. If I'm going to be a sprinter, or if I'm going to be a powerlifter, I want all the muscles in my legs, if I'm a sprinter, all of the muscles in my legs to work together so that I can get to the finish line as quick as possible. So I want my calves, hammies, glutes, all to fire together so I get there fast. Now, like I've already made a point to the powerlifting. If I'm a powerlifter, I want to lift the heaviest weight. So I want to use all the muscles I can use to lift that weight.
Exactly.
I literally recruits other muscles to use to make a movement easier, because that's what our body's trying to do. It's like, okay, if I have to pick up this, let me see. I need to be able to pick that weight up. In your body's primal brain, it's thinking I need to be able to pick that weight up the easiest possible way. So I need to use as many muscles as possible. Now, if we're building a physique, it's the opposite, bro. It's we need to use as little supporting muscles as possible. And we need to learn to isolate a muscle to do all the work before we're going to get those crazy results. So me personally, you know, when I started in this, for many years, I was very concerned about the weight I used. For many years, I used to take these big dumbbells and I used to push these big dumbbells. And I used to think, bro, like, look, I'm strong. I mean, I can push these dumbbells, but I had no chest, bro. Like, for me, my chest was extremely hard to build. I was like, I always used to think maybe I have just a genetically very weak chest. Maybe it's not possible for me to build chest. And I fought with this day in, day out, month in, month out, and year in, year out for many years, until this one guy at my gym, this one trainer said to me, John, you know what, bro? You're lifting way too heavy, bro, for your chest. And I was like, what do you mean, Rudy? His name was Rudy. I said, what do you mean? He said, bro, he's like, you're not getting any pec stimulation. You're getting the weight up and down, but you're using all the other muscles. So I said, okay. He said, what must I do? I said, what must I do? He said, like, third the weight, bro. Not even half it, like third it. So I took the weight right down, and then I started thinking about form. And I started thinking, am I feeling the press in my chest, or am I feeling it in my shoulder? Did I stand up from the set? Did I have a huge pump in my shoulders, or did I have a huge pump in my chest? And the more I took that approach to my sport, the better I got at it. And then, bro, then the results started to come.
Right.
Before that, it was like I was battling to get over 100 kilos. Like, battling at my height to get over 100 shouldn't be hard. But I was battling. Like, my body was just tuning, nah. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll let you lift a little bit heavier weights. Yes, you can lift heavier weight. But growth-wise, nothing was happening. Firstly, because I also didn't understand how much I had to eat. And secondly, because I wasn't doing the movements correctly. Right. So when I was able to take that pride and put it in my pocket and think to myself, I don't care if that guy half my size over there thinks that he can dumbbell press more than me. I don't care. I'm going to dumbbell press what I need a dumbbell press to feel my chest work. As soon as I could do that and not worry about everybody else and not worry about what, he thinks I'm big and that means I need to lift heavy. Fuck that. I didn't worry about that. As soon as I did that, bro, then results started to come really quick. And then you know what the beautiful thing about that is? The beautiful thing about that is when you learn to do that, strength will come, but it'll come as a side effect of building your muscles. So it'll be an added benefit that you get along with it. So now, if I go a dumbbell press, yes, I use some big weights, and the weights look big to maybe other people, but I do it so beautifully and I do it so strictly that I make sure that my chest is on fire when I stand up from the set. And if I take a weight and I didn't feel that and it was too heavy, I put that weight away and I take a lighter weight again. And you know what the awesome thing about that is, bro, is because I learned to do that, I'm able at the moment in lockdown to still have some very good workouts with the limited equipment that I have. I've got limited weights. I have no machines. I have literally a barbell and some dumbbells, but I'm still looking pretty decent with my physique because I've learned to connect. So I've learned to connect with a lighter weight, and I've learned to connect so well that I can get a great workout in with light weights.
Right.
So that is also an added benefit of getting that mind to muscle connection perfect. The better you get that mind to muscle connection, bro, the faster your results, and the faster your career will take off, you know?
Right. So it's all about how you understand your muscle and how you connect that with your workout routine and, you know, get your results faster. So even with the light weights, you can do that, as you just told me.
Yes, bro. And it's all about being honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Stop lying to yourself. You know what I mean? So many people lie to themselves, bro. So what I mean by that is they're like, it's so important because their mate said to them, hey, bro, last week he bench pressed 100 kilos. Yeah. Suddenly, as men, our egos are huge and our egos are very real things, especially as a man. So we suddenly need to bench 100 kilos.
Yeah.
Because my friend did it, so now I have to do it. It doesn't matter, bro. It doesn't matter at all. Go and bench 60 kilos. Bench 60 kilos. Get the growth in your chest. And in a few months' time, you're going to be benching 100 kilos. Except you're going to be doing double the reps than your mates. You're still going to be stuck on 100, and might have injured himself by then because he's doing it so badly and in such a wrong form. And he might have even tried to push maybe 105, and then boom, suddenly he's got a shoulder injury. You know?
Yeah.
So you know, put your pride aside. Just put your pride aside and concentrate on you and on yourself, and stop worrying about what that over there, what that guy over there is pushing. It doesn't matter.
Right. That's perfect advice. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, bro.
Coming to the next question. You have worked with pros and you have built some winning pros as well. So this mind to muscle connection, is that a part of your training, and what else is a part of your training?
Yeah, so 100%, Bruce. So what I've noticed is I've had some guys come to me with phenomenal physiques. I mean, they already came to me with great physiques. I didn't do anything to get them there. When they came to me with these great physiques, now you must realize the closer you get to your genetic potential, the harder it is to carry on getting results. So a lot of people, including myself at certain stages, have got into a certain stage, a certain body weight, certain muscle mass, certain body fat, and suddenly we've hit plateaus and you don't know what to do to get over that. Now, what I've been lucky to witness is when I've gotten these great physiques that have come to me, and I've been able to technically break their movements down. So I've become a lot more critical on their movements, even though they've been training for over 10 years. So for instance, I'm a lot more critical on their movements, and I'm like, listen, at the bottom of the movement there, you're bouncing the weights off your joint. Why don't you stop the weight and push it from dead? Let's try something stupid like that. On this movement, you're doing a row, but I feel like you're using a lot of your biceps instead of your back. So then I teach them, for instance, how to forget about their hands, how to think only about their elbows when they're doing back, how to open their back and close their back when they're doing the movement, and to, again, take the emphasis out of that secondary muscle, which is our bicep. Now, as modern-day human beings, a lot of our secondary muscles have almost become primary muscles in certain ways. Now, what I mean by that is, if I was back in the bush, back when we were hunting and gathering, when we had none of this technology, if we had to move a rock away from a cave, we would grab the rock and we would have pulled it and we would have used the big muscle, our back. And it would have been something that we would have done very naturally. Because we would have had to move a big weight, so we would have used a big muscle. Now, because things are so easy for us in this day and age, if we go to a door, we don't have to move a rock anymore. We have to open a door. To open a door, open a handle, you turn it and you pull it like this. So what has happened? Our bicep has suddenly become our primary muscle, because now we're used to using our bicep to do all these movements because they're not so hard anymore. Things aren't so hard. Things are so easy. Now, because of that, I've noticed that because of modern day human beings getting away with being able to use small muscles to accomplish tasks, we've forgotten how to use our major muscles. So people have forgotten how to use their back to row something heavy. Or a great example is people have forgotten how to use their hamstrings and their glutes because we never squat in our normal day life anymore. So if you're in the wild and you're going to go and take a number 2, you're going to go and squat when you take the number 2, bro. And that's your natural position for your body to be in.
Yeah.
That's the natural position. So it would be natural to be able to stay down on our haunches and flat-footed to take our number 2. But because we never have to do that anymore, our hamstrings and our glutes have become very weak, and we've become very quad dominant. And even the shoes that we wear, if you look at sneakers, sorry, that's a South African term. If you look at sneakers, our sneakers actually point downwards now. You'll see they don't, especially running shoes, they point downwards. Now what that does is it pushes you over onto your toes. And when that happens, we become more quad dominant and we use even less hamstrings and glutes. And so that's why it's very important if someone's training legs, to train legs in flat shoes, barefoot, flat shoes, or weightlifting shoes. Those ones that have got, make your foot flat so that you can push through your heel and not your toes. Because when you're pushing through your heel, suddenly you recruit more hamstrings and glutes again. Right. So, I know that I got right off the topic here. What was the original question?
Original question was that you're training pros. So what kind of a training pattern?
Yes. Yes. So for instance, I'll watch a pro. I'll watch him squat, and I'll notice that he keeps on pushing off his toes. And because he keeps on pushing off his toes, he might have learned to lift a heavy weight that way. But because of him doing that for so long, for so many years, he's gotten ridiculous quad development, and his hammies and his glutes have fallen behind. Now, if I then go and I take him and I teach him how to squat again. So I teach him how to squat firstly in the correct footwear, and then I teach him how to squat. That a squat is not an up and down movement. It's not up and down. People think a squat's up and down. And it's logical to think that it is, because when you look at some what they do, they go from up to down. But the movement is not up and down. The movement is back forward. So the movement is called hip flexion. If we're doing it correctly, our hips need to move backwards as we come down, and then our hips need to drive forward as we stand up. And if we do that, and our hips do go backwards, then suddenly, boom, hammies and glutes come in. And hammies and glutes are very, very big muscles. They're extremely large muscles. So if you're using them correctly, they should power you up in your squat, in your deadlift, in your lunge, in all of those movements, right?
Right.
If we're using them correctly, they should power you up, and you should have a very strong squat. But your bum, your hamstrings should also burn if you're doing it correctly, right? So I'm able to take a pro and suddenly say, bro, you know what, bro? We can get your physique looking better because we can develop your hamstrings and your glutes, which will then make your quads and your legs look more proportionate. And that would also then again make your waist look smaller, which will cause an illusion. So by maybe just fixing one point, it improves his whole physique, because that's what a good physique is, hey bro? It's an illusion.
Exactly.
A good physique is an illusion. And the illusions that we create are stuff like wider shoulders to make our waist look smaller, wider flare on our legs to make our waist look smaller, obviously a V-taping back, again, to make the waist look smaller, because that is what aesthetics are. Small waist, wide shoulders, V-taper, X-frame, So I've been, so the mind to muscle connection part is probably one of the biggest aspects that I'm able to take a pro and improve his physique. And then again, the other aspects are, this game is constantly changing, it's constantly evolving, and nobody out there, regardless of whether you're 8-time Mr. Olympia like Ronnie Coleman, and I promise you Ronnie Coleman will tell you exactly what I'm about to say, nobody knows it all.
Right.
Nobody knows it all. and everybody is still learning. And if you aren't learning and you think you know it all, you're going to be one hell of a rubbish coach, and you're going to be a terrible athlete, because it is impossible to know it all.
Exactly.
We're constantly learning, and we're constantly realizing that, wait a minute, this food does this, and this training technique does this, and this is a good way to get over the plateau. So often, you know, a pro will come to me and he's been doing a certain thing for many, many years, and I have a different take on it, and I've learned something from another pro or another person in the industry, and I try that on their body, and suddenly that actually helps them get over the plateau. Sometimes, bro, you know, you'll get an athlete that has done a hell of a lot, and maybe your training style as a coach doesn't suit them.
Right.
And that's, and again, you've got to be humble enough to realize that sometimes might be the case. Your personality might get along with somebody else's personality, and he might be able to bring out the best in you because of the way you guys connect. So, you know, it just depends on the connection between the people. And you know, the nice thing is that one thing I've learned the more I've done bodybuilding is most of the elite guys in this sport are really cool. They're really great guys. Most guys don't have big egos. You obviously do have the guys that are exceptions to the rule, and that just walk around like idiots, but those are exceptions in everything. Most guys, most pros that you come to, that are willing to listen and to learn, and they do realize that even though they're a pro, they don't know it all.
Right. Thank you, John, for sharing such vital information about training and how to train, because I'm going to be involving that in my routine, and I hope next time I see you, I'll be a little bit bigger and broader.
Yes, of course. Right. We all have our own journeys, you know, and that's also what the viewers have to realize.
Yeah.
Is everybody's starting somewhere, and I started somewhere, and you know, your starting point is just your starting point, and now you're going to go on this awesome journey. And that's another thing that you need to learn to appreciate, is learn to enjoy the journey, guys.
Exactly.
Don't only think about having that elite physique.
Right.
Do you know how long it took for me to get my first sponsor, bro? Do you know how long it took? It took 13 years of training before I landed my first sponsor. Because I'm tall, it took a long time for me to fill out my physique. And also because I wasted time with trying to lift too heavy in the beginning. I didn't fill the physique out as quick as I could have. So I had to, you know, persevere, and I had to learn to enjoy every workout. I had to learn to enjoy it, because if I didn't, and after doing it for 2-3 years, I might have just given up on my goal. I might have just been like, you know what, it's not possible to get a physique like that. I mean, look at me, I've been doing it for 2 years. You got to understand that you need to enjoy the journey, enjoy every goal and every look that you achieve. Enjoy that look, guys. Take advantage of it, because I promise you that the better you get at the sport, the more trained your eye gets, and then the more faults you'll pick up as well. So learn to enjoy your progress, you know. Learn to enjoy your progress, and learn to enjoy your journey.
Exactly. John, it's been a vital information sharing moment. Now I would like to lighten the mood. I want to know, how is it in South Africa? If you could share interesting details, you know, because we would like to know how is it there.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I come from a city called Johannesburg. Johannesburg is the financial capital of South Africa. So it's originally a city that was built, or that came about because of the gold and the diamonds that we found in Johannesburg. I mean, at one stage, the gold that was coming out of Johannesburg mines supplied 60% of the whole world's gold at a stage. Wow. So very, very rich land with a lot of minerals and nutrients in it. So that's why Johannesburg is here. It still is the financial capital of the country. There still is 60% of all the money in South Africa is in Johannesburg. So all the other major cities around the country actually only share 40% of the wealth. So you'll see that people that work and live in Johannesburg normally earn better salaries than people in Cape Town, although Cape Town is just so phenomenally beautiful. The salaries are better in Johannesburg. Another interesting fact for you about Johannesburg is we are the second highest city in the world.
Okay.
So as an altitude, we are the second highest in the world after, I think, a city in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. So we are extremely high altitude. So we do have a lot of endurance athletes that come to Johannesburg and train here. Because when they go back to doing a marathon, for instance, at sea level, their body has learned to use oxygen in a much better way because they've been training at altitude, and then they do so much better in their race. For us as bodybuilders or physique athletes, it's also great because we also training at altitude. So when I come to Mumbai, I feel like I can really, really smash it in the gym there because my body is just like, wow, there's so much oxygen. Okay.
Right.
Right now, we obviously the opposite to you guys in India. We're going into winter.
Right.
South Africa is known as sunny South Africa. So we're blessed. Even today, it's very, very, very cold, but there's not one cloud in the sky. It's a bright, beautiful day. So it is cold. There's a cold front coming through at the moment, but it is cold. It is still bright and very sunny and very, which is great for your mood, as a person. Guys, I love my country. I love South Africa. There's so many different cool things about our country. Like I said, I've traveled all over the world. One of my favorite cities in the world is Cape Town. Cape Town has, if you guys want to go on a holiday, it has everything. It has the best food. It has the best nightlife. It's got incredible beaches that will blow your mind away. It's got mountains that you can go and hike. It's got vineyards, wine. You can go on wine tours. There's so much to do there that you need actually quite a bit of time to do it all. Right. And then again, if you came, for instance, to visit me in Johannesburg, we're like an hour away from the bush. Around about an hour away from the bush, where you can go and see all the big five. You can go and see lions and elephants and rhinos and the whole thing. So we're very close to that. So, and then there's also a place called KZN or KwaZulu-Natal, where there is the second biggest, I don't know if the viewers know this, but there's the second biggest Indian population outside of India. Lives in South Africa, and it lives in a place called KwaZulu-Natal or Durban. And the Durban Indians, guys, cook way hotter than Indian Indians. So like for some reason, the food is like stupid spicy. It's like you can't even handle it. And even like friends of mine from India that have come and tasted Durban curries, they are like, they can't handle it. It's that hot. So for some reason, the Indians that live here in South Africa cook really, really hot. And they've even developed a couple of their own unique Indian foods from our country that even some of them don't know that it doesn't exist in India. Like there's a food called bunny chow. And bunny chow doesn't exist in India, but it's an Indian dish here. It's very, very famous, where it's actually half a loaf of bread, and then they've taken the inside of the bread out, so that there's just the crust, so that there's like a pocket. And then they take curry, and they put the curry in the bread, so that the bread forms like a container. For like the curry, and then they eat the curry and the bread along with each other like that. And that's called bunny chow, and it's delicious. And that's, again, like I said, comes from the Indians here in our country. Remember that Gandhi had a huge impact on our country. So he's very, very well remembered here. And remember, he came to this place, to Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, back in the day. He actually came here, and that's why. So there's some facts about our country. I think that were pretty cool.
Thank you, John. So John, you've been an amazing consultant, online coach, and you give awesome results as well. So just a few words where how people can connect you, how people can reach out if they want professional training.
Cool. So guys, I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram as JohnLucas_. You can DM me on there. I do my best to try and answer every single DM that I get. DM me on there. I'm also on Facebook. I have a fan page called John Lucas Athlete. I am at the moment putting a website together that's getting developed where you'll be able to contact me on there, which I will obviously share the address when it's up and going. I recently joined TikTok, but most of my online stuff I work through Instagram at the moment. So I've gotten a lot of great athletes and some really cool clients from just DMing me. And then what I do is, I send an invitation to an app where the guys download an app on their phone, and where I where I write your specific program for that person's genetic makeup, where I write specific diets for that person's genetic makeup, and that gets loaded on the app, and they get to see it, and they also in the gym. And if I'm telling them, listen, I want you to do switch step-ups, and you don't know what switch step-ups are, it's cool because there's a video over here of me showing you switch step-ups, and I'm also talking you through the movement and telling you about the mind-to-muscle connection and what you're supposed to be feeling. And that all comes on the app. And, it's amazing. Back when online coaching started, I was a little bit skeptical. I was like, how good can you get somebody if you're coaching them online? And what I've realized is you can make them win top shows. That's how good you can get them. As long as they are able to be disciplined enough to get to the gym themselves, so that I'm not waiting there for them. If they're able to do that and stick to that, and I'm guiding them, the results can be phenomenal.
Right. That's great. So guys, as John just told you, you can contact him on his social media accounts. He can train you through an app also. So John is doing an amazing job. So you can connect to him on his social media, Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to share the link in the description. John, thank you so much for joining us. And if you can just say a few words about Madfitjunky, what is your feeling? What is your thought? It would be great for us.
Yes. Madfitjunky, thank you guys for having me on the show. It's been amazing. You know what? One thing I must say, bro, is I loved your questions. Your questions are cool. They're unique. They're different. I do get asked some questions, over and over again in different interviews and some interviews. Your questions were great because they were unique and they allowed me to elaborate a little bit. You, bro, have got an amazing smile and you've been an incredible host.
Thank you so much.
I hope your channel continues to grow. And, bro, you just let me know. I'll do another segment for you with pleasure in the future.
Obviously, sir. That would be really amazing for us. And I would like to do it when you are here in India so that I can get more of you.
Perfect. That would be great. That's a date.
Done, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Giant Nation. Much love.
Bye.
You. Cheers, guys.
Bye, sir. Love you. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like our video and if you want to promote yourself and motivate others, you can connect with us. To connect, you can find all the details in the description. Please like, share and subscribe to my video. To subscribe to my channel, click here. And to watch our previous videos, you can click here. Thank you so much.